Hello, everybody. Welcome to Literary Strategies with Charles Stringer. I use Charles so it would be more professional. Out of the 4 strategies I picked, the first one is the old tried and true think, pair, share strategy. This is I think it's similar to the Prius, as in it's reliable. It might not be the most glamorous vehicle or the one that people point out to on the street, but it does its job. It's efficient. It works. Simple as. So, what it is, we start with a brief individual thinking, then it moves to a partner discussion and a whole class share. Best time to use this is discussions that are focused on sharing, not problem solving. This is because it's a good sharing tool. Helps with removing barriers of entry for students, like quieter students and English learners, by giving them time to think, having a low barrier of entry, using a smaller group before sharing with the class. So that way, it kind of a little bit of structure. An example of one of these would be, students answer what happens, why does it matter, about a short poem. They pair up to discuss, and then they share with the class. Very simple, very simple. The second is a Socratic seminar. This is a student-led discussion where this is the most important aspect. The teacher acts as a facilitator, not an evaluator. That can be hard for some teachers, but it's very important that it's a student-led discussion. Now, you want to use this with texts that are kind of ambiguous. So if they have multiple meanings or valid interpretations, like it says here, that could be really good for discussion. You don't want to pick something that's kind of generic, one-dimensional, that allows for, the right answers like glaring in front of them, because they're not going to be able to discuss anything. Having a wide array of different interpretations leads to a better student-led discussion. An example of this could be, students prepare textual evidence around an open-ended key question. The teacher stays withdrawn, guided only when needed. That's an important aspect. Guided only when needing would be if the discussion, goes off the rails and they start to lose kind of, focus on the central idea and the central question. The third, similar to the Socratic seminar, is a fishbowl discussion. This is a discussion model that's a little bit more multifaceted in a lot of ways than a Socratic seminar. So in a fishbowl discussion, the inner circle talks, the outer circle listens and takes notes. So there's one circle discussing, set up with desks, 6 to 8 students, and then there's an outer circle that is taking notes and not really active in the verbal aspect of the discussion. This type of model gives them an option to swap into the conversation. When to use controversial issues or dilemmas without one right answer, similar to the Socratic seminar, but this one gives every student a defined role, which allows for different students to participate in different ways, kind of changing how the class interprets active participation. Example of this, 6 to 8 students discuss a primary source in an inner circle, while the rest of the class observes and can swap in. And finally is the sketch to sketch. So this is where students would draw an interpretation of a text instead of writing about it. It kind of branches off the normal route, which would be a written, interpretation or a written response that a lot, especially in ELA classrooms, happen a lot. So this would work best with text with strong symbolic, emotional content. That way you kind of invite different readings from, the different people you have in the class. An example of this would be after reading, a poem, students sketch its meaning. They present it to a small group. The process of that small group discussion, presentation, would be a person presents, they don't speak, and then the artist, they guess, and then the artist explains the true intent behind what they drew. Okay, today we're going to be doing a sketch to sketch with the help of my lovely girlfriend Lauren, who's listening through the computer, you can say hello.
Hello.
Sweet. Okay, so this is going to be an 8-minute literary strategy that we use. It's usually in 4 steps. The first is going to be we're going to read the text out loud. The text is Harlem by Langston Hughes. It's a quick, short poem, so it shouldn't take too long. As we read, don't try to figure out the right answer or the meaning behind the text. Focus on just the imagery and the feelings that come up for you. It should be individual, no talking during this time, just whatever resonates with you during the reading of the poem. After that, we're going to take 5 minutes to quietly sketch. This is no talking or explaining, just drawing. Yet again, I want to reiterate, there's no right answer, so just take your time, do whatever comes to mind after you read the poem. After you're finished with your drawing and the time limit allots, we're going to get into small groups. Small group being me and you, of course, because nobody else is here. During this, you're going to present your work. I'm going to try to guess what your work represents based on the reading. And then after that, you're going to reveal your actual thinking. We'll do that. I'll present mine, you present yours, vice versa. It'll be a really fun little activity. After that, the class will debrief, and that wraps up our sketch to sketch. So, we can move into the reading section. Now, I'm going to read first, and then you'll read silently, and we will begin our sketch. So this is Harlem by Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? So, now we're going to begin our sketching section. Lauren, we're going to start with your drawing first. Remember, be quiet first, and I'm going to try to understand it. Here we begin. Here we go. Oh. Now this is something beautiful. Based on the poem, oh wow. I see a lot of imagery of kind of nature. I see some type of maybe some explosion here. Or maybe this is some type of fire. It's very interesting. Here, well, that looks almost like maybe an eye or something, maybe shrinking. Oh, and then maybe these are the tears falling into the ocean of lost dreams down here. Oh, and then this. I really don't know what that is. Okay, well, maybe would you like to explain kind of how the poem resonated and what this drawing represents?
Yeah, I can do that. So I kind of did little sections for each part of the poem and how each kind of what it made me think about. The little green circular one is I picked like a sad color because you've lost your dreams. It kind of goes off of that first line, like shrinking, dry up like a raisin in the sun, just because it's like your dream is disappearing. And then I put a tiny little white dot in the very center representing how the dream is completely gone.
Brilliant.
So in my head it was like, a person has this dream and they lose it and it's kind of a sad thing, but one day they don't even think about it anymore. The next line was kind of about, the festering the sore and it running. I more thought that was that's my, the multicolored, like warm one with the yellow, the yellow at the end.
Yeah.
That was kind of like, something's festering like a sore, your dream is building up and you just can't let it go, and then all of a sudden you succeed, and yellow is a happy color. So wow. I had it kind of like the buildup of the warm colors and then it exploding with success
I
at
love
the
I
end.
love that use of color.
And then the rotten meat and sugar one I kind of struggled with. Um, I think in my head, it was like, to me, it felt like at first when you don't achieve your dreams, sometimes it can be like disappointing or upsetting, but then you find new success or like better outcomes because of that. So it ends up being for the best, but I kind of struggle to represent that.
Yeah.
But that's my blue one.
Okay.
And then the sagging and heavy load or exploding, I think I took a little more literally than the other ones. And that's the little red explosions and the black.
That is incredible. I really like how you represented all aspects. Mine's a little bit more singular, but this is the way you use color and imagery. It's complex, and I think it definitely speaks to the poem. Okay, well, I'm going to now show you my drawing. You'll have a little bit of time to think about what it represents. Here we go. So feel free to share your thoughts on this here.
To me, I wondered if you'd like applied the poem to like personal feelings, because I know soccer is like an important part of your life. I can't speak to what exactly it represents because I can't get the whole picture of like what dream exactly
Yes.
was going on and what happened to it.
Yeah.
But I think, you were able to take that poem and apply it to yourself and demonstrate your feelings through the image that you created.
That is very accurate. So soccer is a big part of my life, and it's also a part of my life I haven't quite given up on. The dream of, I guess it's less of a dream now. I mean, I have dreams within soccer, but less so. But this was kind of a interpretation of if I had just given up on soccer, given up on coaching, on playing, and I did for a little, and it did feel like, that dream I had just kind of, it never really left. Like, whether I gave up on it or not, it was still there, and it kind of burned within me. And so this is a kind of visceral image. I'm being cooked on a pan. The dream that I've given up on is the heat that is cooking me. And clearly, I'm not a delicious meal based on that green stench that is arising from my cooking body. And so, I think this, it felt like there was an internal burn in that, when I gave up on kind of soccer, it just made my life and, everything else a little kind of drab. So those are the green things. But, and maybe the pan for me represents life, Okay. So the main objective of the Sketch to Sketch was to really represent that even though we all read the same poem, that every person in the class took away a different idea, whether it was tied to something personal like mine, or kind of overarching, touching on the various aspects of the poem, the highs, the lows, the sweet, the sour. The Sketch to Sketch represents just how many different people are in the class, how many different perspectives are taken away, and how a person's background can really change their interpretation of a written piece of work.